The girl was video chatting with her boyfriend when she noticed something strange. Behind him, lightning kept flashing non-stop. She was just about to ask what was happening, but the call suddenly cut out. Out on a nighttime cruise, she quickly told her family what she saw. At that moment, her father heard a strange noise coming from the sea. He rushed to the side of the boat and saw a massive pod of whales swimming frantically toward land, trying to stay calm. He said it was probably a coming storm, interfering with the whales' magnetic sense, causing them to lose direction, but none of them noticed. Inside the cabin, the compass was spinning wildly out of control. The next second, a whale slammed into the bottom of the boat. The engine was damaged, completely unable to start. Luckily, they were anchored along a major maritime route, but just then, the radar picked up something, rapidly approaching. A deep rumble followed. They rushed to the deck to see what it was. A flaming rock shot from the sky and crashed into the sea. Jack didn't know what was happening, but instinctively tried to start the boat and escape. No matter what he did, the yacht wouldn't respond. And then, a massive meteor was heading straight for them. It missed, just grazing the side of the boat. Shaken, they hurried back inside to take shelter. Meteors rained down, churning the sea into violent chaos. Waves roared on all sides. They put on life jackets, praying to survive the night. By the time the sea finally calmed, 2 full days had passed, but when they stepped onto the deck, they were met with a horrifying sight. In just 48 hours, the ocean had vanished. All around them, an endless cracked seabed stretched to the horizon. Only the fish and shrimp, scattered across the deck, proved it wasn't a hallucination. Even worse, after the chaos, they only had enough food and water to last a few days. The youngest son acted quickly, releasing a balloon into the sky, hoping someone passing by might spot them in time. Jack pulled out a compass and map, trying to figure out where they were, but the compass spun aimlessly, completely useless. Panicked but focused, he began connecting backup batteries. Once the radio was repaired, Jack desperately sent out distress signals. To his shock, someone responded. Jack asked what was happening. The voice on the other end claimed it was a magnetic pole reversal, triggering a chain of natural disasters. The man introduced himself as William, a deep-sea surveyor. He had been underwater when the catastrophe struck. He explained that not all communication lines were down, and according to the latest reports, Earth's magnetic field might reverse again in just 7 days. When that happens, the water that had drained elsewhere could come rushing back. So he urged them to head for higher ground if they could, but trapped on the dry sunken seabed, they had nowhere to go. They asked if they could come to him instead. This time, William didn't respond. Anna understood his hesitation. She quickly explained she was a doctor. If anyone got hurt, she could help. She promised not to slow them down. After a moment of silence, he finally agreed. They exchanged coordinates. It was 230 kilometers away. Even at full speed on foot, it would take 5 days. Time was running out. They began packing immediately. But just as they were about to leave, Jack spotted a man walking toward them from the distance. The man staggered, moving slowly and clumsily. Jack felt no alarm. He grabbed a bottle of water and went to meet him, cheerfully introducing himself as he walked. But the man said nothing. His eyes stayed fixed on the bottle in Jack's hand. Jack assumed he was just dehydrated. He never noticed the long, jagged blade the man was holding. The man grabbed the bottle, drank it greedily, then suddenly struck Jack down. He picked up the blade again and drove it straight through Jack's chest. The man wasn't finished. He turned toward Anna, blade in hand, and chased after her. He hurled a spear. It only grazed her shoulder, but it was close. Anna ran back to the cabin and locked the door behind her. She quickly hid the children inside a storage cabinet, handed them a flare gun, and told them to use it if needed. Then she slipped into the bathroom to hide. The man broke through the front door and began tearing the place apart. Anna held her breath, frozen with fear, but the cabin was small. It didn't take long. The man quickly found the bathroom, but to his surprise, it was empty. Anna had slipped through a broken hole, now hiding just below in a blind spot, evading his pursuit. As the man paused, confused, Anna had the misfortune of running into a stray wild dog. Its barking instantly gave away her position, but before the man could react, the dog lunged at her. In a split-second move, Anna stabbed it to death. By the time the man rushed out, all he saw was the lifeless body on the ground. Anna had already circled to the side and climbed back onto the yacht. The danger wasn't over. The supplies and her children were still inside. She couldn't just run. She crept in to quietly retrieve the kids, but the man suddenly appeared, knocking her to the ground with a single blow. He wrapped his hands around her neck, intent on choking her to death. From the shadows, young Casey could take no more. She flung open the cabinet lid, lifted the flare gun, and fired. The man never saw it coming. The flare hit him squarely, sending him flying back. Sparks erupting through the cabin. The room burst into flames. Anna grabbed what supplies she could and fled with the children. Moments later, the burning yacht exploded behind them. Her son collapsed in tears, blaming himself for raising the balloon, thinking it led the man to them. Though grieving deeply herself, Anna held back the sorrow. She comforted him, telling him to stay strong, because this was only the beginning of the trials they would face. What they didn't know, the man had escaped the yacht before the explosion. Luckily, time was tight, and they didn't lose any progress. They kept moving toward the coordinates non-stop, until they spotted the wreckage of a crashed plane in the distance. Exhausted, they decided to rest there before continuing. Late at night, Casey quietly got up to use the bathroom. Unaware, a figure was slowly creeping up behind him. Just as the man was about to strike, Anna burst from the shadows, weapon in hand, turning the odds in her favor. She stabbed the man to death. Her rage poured out, fueled by memories of her husband's brutal death. Only when her daughter embraced her from behind did she begin to calm down. During the day, Anna had seen the man's silhouette through binoculars, but kept silent to protect the children. Now, with her revenge complete, she had only one goal left, to get the children safely to their destination. But as they prepared to leave, they were terrified when they discovered the man's body, completely mutilated overnight, as if torn apart by some monstrous force. This meant something even more terrifying than the man was nearby. Anna dared not stay. She immediately set off to leave. Under the scorching sun, their last bottle of water was soon gone. Parched and desperate, the youngest buried his head into a puddle to drink. The other two rushed to stop him, knowing seawater would only make him thirstier. The dirty water was full of bacteria, dangerous enough to make him sick. Anna knew this couldn't continue. Along the way, they spotted scattered seats swept into this area. They quickly gathered the pieces, posting them together to build shelter from the blazing sun. They survived until sunset, but then Anna heard strange noises in the distance. She hurried outside to look around, and finally realized what the cannibalistic creature really was. She ran back to wake the sleeping children, leading them in a swift escape. The creature chased relentlessly, fast and unforgiving. The endless flat land offered no place to hide, yet luck seemed to favor them. Over the hill, they spotted a sunken cargo ship. They rushed toward it. Workers gathering supplies noticed them and immediately became alert. But then, behind Anna and the others, the more terrifying creatures appeared. Ignoring their desperate calls, no matter how much they shouted, the door stayed shut. The group had no choice but to climb higher to hide. The monsters were crab-like creatures. Though Anna was bitten, she still managed to climb up, while others slipped through a broken hole into the container. The workers fired shots, but soon ran out of ammunition, overwhelmed by the swarm. Their deaths allowed the group to escape. Listening to the chilling sounds of creatures feeding, they had no choice but to bandage their wounds and wait silently. Only after the crab swarm finally retreated did they dare to come down, collecting the weapons and food left behind. They were lucky to find a forgotten walkie-talkie. Anna quickly changed the channel and called William, explaining their situation and warning him about the strange creatures. William explained the arthropods lived in deep-sea rock crevices. The stormy seas hadn't swept them away, but had taken their food. Hungry, they were now hunting anything in sight. William also shared worse news. The seawater was returning sooner than expected. They needed to reach his location immediately, but during their escape, Anna had lost the map. Though now close to William, they had no idea which way to go. Hearing this, William immediately fired a signal flare. Seeing the flare, they hurried toward the guided direction. Soon, the deep-sea probe appeared in the distance. To reach it, they had to pass through a rocky wall inhabited by crab swarms. They moved cautiously, trying not to make a sound. Just as they neared the exit, the rock wall suddenly trembled. A torrent of falling debris came crashing down. Anna quickly pushed the two children out of the way, but she herself got trapped. Behind her, noises erupted. The disturbed crab swarm was closing in. Outside, Casey immediately reacted, dragging her reluctant brother with her, planning to run ahead and seek help from William. But when they got closer, they found William severely wounded, unable to help anyone. Casey had no choice but to run back. Anna kept shooting at the approaching crabs, but the swarm was too large, and her ammunition ran out. At the critical moment, Casey arrived just in time, pulling her mother to safety. But the hungry crabs swarm relentlessly pursued them. They were terrified when they discovered his handgun to provide cover. In the chaos, the others had no choice but to abandon the unconscious William. The next second, he was overwhelmed by the advancing swarm. The rest were completely surrounded by the creatures. They had no option but to dive into the deep-sea probe for shelter. Watching the frenzied crabs, they knew the probe wouldn't hold for long. Then, an even more terrifying sight unfolded before them. The vanished ocean began to surge back. Anna immediately told the children to return to their seats and fasten their seatbelts. The next moment, a colossal wave, hundreds of meters high, crashed down upon them. Helpless, they could only pray silently. No one knew how much time had passed when they finally regained consciousness. Miraculously, the probe had withstood the crushing force. Anna rushed to check the view outside. If they were trapped at the bottom of the sea, they would be doomed. But to their relief, they had been swept back onto land. Yet staring at the ruined city before them, they sank into an even deeper despair.